everybody. Today I'm going to be showing you how I built this thing right here, this Roman scutum. It's about 4 feet tall, I think 2 feet wide, and yeah, not that heavy, but a little bit heavy. But most importantly, it was a lot of fun to build. I liked it so much that I actually got the logo on the front tattooed onto my arm. So yeah, let's get into it. First, I laid down some ratchet straps and then some planks over top of it, just to start with the curve of the shield. Then I got 4 layers of plywood, soaked them, and then glued them together. Next, strapped around the barrel to keep everything in a good curve. The next step was to paint it after it had dried and set in the good curve, so just got a roller and some red paint and painted until it looked good. Next, we had to make the handle and the hand guard of the shield. So first we just started with drilling a hole right through the middle, and then we made the handle, which was pretty tricky. All you had to do though was just cut everything at a bit of an angle and then drill it together and use some glue. Next up is that fancy looking metal trim around the side. I think we used aluminum duct, and we just cut long pieces for the ends and then had to cut it up into different sections for the curve. Next was the easiest part, which was attaching the handle. For that we used tap-in screws and some glue and put a weight on it to make sure everything stayed there. And here's what it looked like with the handle on standing up. For the hand guard thing at the front, we just used a salad bowl that wasn't getting used anymore and attached it with some tap-in screws. Forgot to add in another thing of the shield, but it's that little square thing around the hand guard. We just used galvanized duct and just some tap-in screws to keep it in place. And next up was making the design on the front of the shield. This one is called the laurel wreath, and it was just tape all around, cut out the design, and as you can see here, cover the rest of the shield in whatever you can, and take it to a safe place where you can spray paint it with whatever color that you need. We chose silver, something matching the trim and everything, and then we painted the top and the bottom of the shield just by taping it around. And there is your final product. Something that I always think about whenever I look at my shield is just how big it is. I'm 5'11", and this is most of me. The things, it's not far off from historically accurate either. Now, the design on the front would be used for more ceremonial things. Maybe there's a new emperor getting sworn in or an important funeral happening or something. Then the Roman guards would stand with the laurel wreath as a ceremonial sign to stand guard, but more importantly, look nice in that sense. Also, another cool thing about the Roman army is that they invented most of the tactics used today in military, the most important, well-known one being the wedge. You just take the shape of a triangle, and it's most commonly used for clearing out narrow spaces or entering narrow spaces in enemy territory, whatever that may be. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And although this relied heavily on a phalanx type of military, kind of like the Spartans in 300, it was still able to be used in simple one-on-one combat. Now, it would usually have the Roman doing something along the lines of this, where they'd hold the shield up here and they'd attack over the top, because then you can't see whatever weapon they had. You can't see my sword until it's already over the top, right looking at you. So they'd use the shield not just to block the weapons, but also to hide their attacks. Also, they would commonly travel with a type of spear that was specific to the Roman army called a pium. And this spear, it basically had a really, really long pointed head and then a heavy ball and the rest of the spear. And the point of it was, if you were fighting a opponent with a shield, you'd throw it at their shield, they'd block it, and because it was such like a long and narrow end, it would get jammed into their shield and then bend up to some side so they can't pull it out, leaving them to fight without a shield. But yeah, turns out the Roman Empire was pretty damn cool. See you next time.